So we've seen the dollar index, it's dropped off a lot. And I mentioned how Saudi Arabia was lining up with the BRICS nation you coalition, if you want to call it that, where they're basically telling the U.S. pound sand. Everybody's going to get a good price, but ICT, I mean not ICT, but America, they're not getting a good deal on fuel or oil. When we don't really need their oil anyway. We have plenty of oil here, and we could tell everyone, see you later, and we can actually go into the export business and do very well as well. But it just goes to show how corrupt everything is. But because our dollar is a petrodollar, it is backed by nothing. And years ago, our nation went to Saudi Arabia and said, "Hey, look, we're going to protect you." Nobody was threatening them at the time, but we're going to protect you from threats. All you got to do is sell your oil in dollars. So anybody wants to buy your oil, they must convert it to the U.S. dollar. So when we were taking off the gold standard, our currency was worthless. Like it was literally nothing. And then now it's backed by the oil market through Saudi Arabia. A lot of people don't realize that or understand that, but now we are in a position where the perfect storm is brewing. And my private mentorship has known about this for a while. I've talked about it publicly as well in the last year. They have obviously weaponized food and the production of food. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just do a little research and homework. And a lot of people denied me, the stage talking about it early on when nobody else was talking about it. They thought it was lunacy. Just because you see it on your grocery store shelf doesn't mean that it's not occurring. There's a lag. Okay, everything you buy in the store, canned goods, vegetables, and things like that, that was last year's crop, and the production for all of 2023, that's going to be significantly less. So that's going to create a shortage, basically, and the cost of those types of foods are going to go up, which is kind of like what I want to talk about today. And you may be thinking, well, what's this got to do with anything? How's this affect the S&P? How's this affect crypto? How's this affect, my day-to-day life? Well, it means things are going to get really expensive, probably hard to get. And if they are not producing much of it, that means the commodity market is going to be extremely bullish in the grains. Corn, soybean, wheat, those types of commodities. We'll probably see historical rallies in 2023 because of engineered famine. The folks that were in my private group, were fearful. They missed it. I said, this is not it. That the initial run up, that was just based on this year. The dollar has rallied, and commodity mega trade type scenarios, for commodities to go up vertically, like in the 70s in the grain markets and stuff like that. Go back and look at old historical moves, and you'll see that it had really amazing run ups. And then we had some more in the 90s, which was fun. But we're going to see something we've never seen before, like parabolic. Like it'll make Bitcoin's rally look like a Judas swing. Yeah, because it's the whole world. The whole world is going to feel that pain of not being able to have enough food. And all these rich cats out there buying up all this farmland makes you wonder, why would they want to do that? Remember I was telling, if you're in my private group, when we saw them talking about the creation of water futures. In other words, there's a commodity contract that trades water. So I told them, I said, we're going to have a problem with that because if they're trying to make water tradable, well, you know what that means. They're going to start manipulating it like they do everything else. So water's an issue. That's become an issue for farmers. And all of these things go under the radar of the average person. You go up to your bed at night and you fall asleep thinking about how you don't want to go to work tomorrow. or next week, because Friday night when you go to bed, you're thinking, I only got 2 days. I got to start all over again. How's this ever going to make its way to your attention? It won't, because the news isn't going to tell you prepare for that kind of stuff. So as a trader, as a speculator, some of the sharpest people in the world are commodity traders. The folks that are long-term horizon type individuals where they see like crop reports. And I'm not claiming I understand all that because I don't. But I see all these little things that are coming together perfectly. Okay. And I've been bullish on dollar for a while, and I try not to pick tops in any market really. And I've went out and said that we could probably see dollar at 120. Now, in recent market action this week, and with the recent discussions because of Saudi Arabia saying, we're going to go in the direction with Russia and China and Brazil and India, and they're all forming this anti-dollar movement. And that's one way of taking the dollar down. Because if they get Saudi Arabia to sign on, what does Saudi Arabia need our protection for? They feel like they got the bear and the dragon behind them. And that type of thing makes me think about the book of Daniel, that fourth and dreadful, terrible beast. It's starting to look like that. BRICS nation, is it. But that's another discussion for another day. Thought I was going to start preaching, didn't you? The dollar may be showing initial signs of, well, if Saudi Arabia is doing what it appears to be doing, our dollar really has no value, has none. So that sets the stage for we need a replacement. We need to have something to replace it. Okay. The central bank digital currencies, they're going to become a thing, and every nation is going to have their little thing, and that will also fail. And the one fix, the solution will be the one currency. Whatever currency that will be in the future, I don't know. But I am telling you, and Raja, listen, you can crack jokes all you want, but Forex is going away. Might as well get used to trading other markets, because Forex, foreign exchange, is going to die. Just like open outcry pit trading in commodities, it doesn't exist anymore. Forex is going to go away. It's not going to be accessible to you. You're not going to be able to do it. So if you'd like to sit around and pretend that that can't happen, it's going to be an abrupt shock to you when it's done. Now, will it be done in the scope of banning it? I don't know. But we will not be able to do it. Okay, so you need to be thinking about alternative ways of speculating and trading. So there'll always be companies out there. These companies that make money selling goods to people, because there's going to be people that are going to be consumers. They're going to need services, those types of things. My attention shifted back to my roots. I'm in futures trading again. I don't want to touch Forex. I don't ever want to be back in Forex ever again. Index futures, easy. When there's a mega trade, something significant, then I'll trade those markets like the grains I'm talking about in the beginning of this conversation. So if we can look at the whole macro perspective for a moment, okay? So the dollar, if this is correcting, okay, let's go as far as to say, let's say the dollar has topped. I'll play devil's advocate for a moment. I don't know for certain that it has, because I try to avoid picking tops and bottoms and long-term moves. But let's just say that the dollar has seen its high for the next 12 months, okay? I'm not stating that I believe that, but let's just say that it is. That would set the groundwork for lower dollar. Commodity prices are allowed to go higher then, because when dollar goes down, grains, meats, oils, all those types of things, it's real easy for it to rally. because there's an inverse relationship. So if dollar's been going up, it's real hard to have mega trades where these currencies, or not currency rather, these grains like corn, soybeans, wheat, the things that people use to make the food, anything you eat, you go to your pantry, you go to your cabinet, you go to your refrigerator, open it up. Those things that are in there, unless they're main staple items like eggs, milk, sugar, salt, flour, you, if you're buying something that's processed, all of those foods have multiple things inside of them. And it's been gathered from the world's grocery store, mainly like United States. We're a big bread basket. Russia, they have a grain export as well. And you see these big countries are saying, no, we're not doing it. We're not exporting. We're keeping ours. And I've been telling my private group this for almost 2 years. And they think it's going to happen right away. Like it's something that's okay. You're not going to have food in the grocery stores this weekend. No, you need to prepare, get ready for it. Get a 2 year, at least a 6 month stock of non-perishable foods and go through them, use them, and replace what you use. Because in 2023, we are going to see crazy famine level nuttery. It's going to be nuts because grains will not be coming to yield like they normally would because fertilizer costs quadrupled almost. Okay. If you tell a farmer you can't use this much water now, and this is how much fertilizer costs, and now you got too much carbon, so you can't plant that much. You see where all this is going? This is the next big thing. So you're all waiting for crypto to come back alive. That's dying. Okay. Forex is dying. Food. That's going to be the market that people will absolutely be buying up because you need it. You don't need a crypto. You don't need a Forex. You don't need it. You don't need it. But everybody needs to eat. Everybody has to feed themselves or their young ones. Now, what are you willing to do to keep from starving? Now, contrast that with what you're willing to do if you miss a crypto trade or a Forex trade. It's annoying. But what happens if your children are hungry and you don't have anything in the pantry to feed them? You're going to start thinking about things that you necessarily wouldn't be thinking about right now and what you do want to do. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a God-fearing man, but I know I would be doing things that would probably be very unsavory to make sure my family eats. If you have extra, I'm going to ask politely the first time. And that's just being real. Imagine the whole world like that. That's going to make food prices go through the roof. And it's all being engineered, not in one country, everywhere. So we're seeing that potential turning of the tide where dollar has been rallying aggressively. Really, really hard, aggressive. Why? It's been flexing on all the other currencies. But Saudi Arabia is that little cornerstone I've mentioned. Watch that one. I told my students, keep your eye on the Middle East. When the shoe drops, you'll know. And it seems like that formation of the BRICS nation, that whole anti-dollar movement, and their currency is going to be backed by gold. Hello, that's real money. That's not crypto, and that's not dollars. That's real money. That's a real currency. That's a real currency that has a backing of what is considered biblical money, gold. You go into any country, gold's recognized. You start flashing, Confederate dollars, they're like, what is that? That's monopoly money. Nobody's going to care about that. But reach inside of a case and pull out a bar of gold, and you'll be lucky if you live. So they're hoarding up all the gold. If you've been watching the last 12 months or so, there's been huge withdrawals from physical gold depositories where they're holding on to gold. There's been huge withdrawals of gold. Why? What is going on that everybody wants to get their hands on their gold? Because something really big's coming. And they already told you what it is. It's the Great Reset. It's the Great Shafting is what it is. And a lot of people are going to be caught off guard. They're going to be starving. They're going to be doing without because they think it's too science fiction to prepare for it. But all you have to do is look at the markets, and they're telling you. Remember how crypto was supposed to be? This is the Robin Hood, the savior of all fiat currency victims. Go out into the world and transfer your currencies into Bitcoin. It seems to be there's a lot of celebrities and such, even YouTubers, that got themselves tangled up in a web of supporting these ideas and these schemes and scams and frauds, and now people are left without their money. Even my own son. I told Cody, I said, do not invest that money in that crap. Don't do it. Oh, Dad, you don't know. You're so old and fuddy-duddy. You're set in your ways. Just watch this young generation. I'm going to watch this young generation do exactly what the fuck the dot-com bubble did. I said, don't do it. Okay. See, you only get to be a old dinosaur in this business if you do the right things. And there's always these young guys that come out and they think they know something better than the old heads. And I'm sorry. Wisdom comes with age. And I might be all racked up here with a back that's thrown out. I'm going to tell you something. My net worth is bigger than yours, and my understanding about the markets is bigger than yours. If I'm telling you this stuff, I'm helping you. Don't arm wrestle me. It's not a competition. I'm trying to help you. You can, number one, prevent yourself from potentially going hungry, or maybe even profit from it. How? Well, if the dollar is, in fact, topped out, and I'm not saying that specifically here, I'm looking for further evidence of that. Because it's about this time where it should be doing it anyway, because that sets up the moves that go into next year for grains. So I'm looking at the correlation between lower prices on dollar, and if everybody around the world saying we're not going to be able to produce as much wheat, corn, soybeans, oats, rice. And if you don't have rice in your house, bags of it, you should start getting it, because it's probably going to be 10 times more expensive next year. Oh, I don't eat rice. You'll eat rice if you're hungry. You can do a lot of things with rice. But all those grains, if everything is what all these signs and indications are pointing to, less water being allowed to be used by farmers, they can't get as much fertilizer because it's too expensive, and their countries are saying you can't produce this much because of the carbon footprint. You have too much nitrogen. Come on, man. Like, all you have to do is take a step back and look at it. Do you not see that that's being engineered? It's in your face right now. And I'm talking to the 3 guys that were in my private group that literally cussed me out in the email. I'm pissed off at you because you didn't listen to me. And now it's obvious. It's in your face. And when we get into 2023, if you didn't listen, you're going to so regret it. You can't make money if you're starving. You're not going to think clearly. And it's easy right now to go to the grocery store. Oh, it's there. ICT's full of shit. You have a 3-day stock. That's what you have at your grocery store. If shit breaks out, say a BOMB falls somewhere in the United States. We don't need to say who it was that did it. but every grocery store out there will empty immediately. Who's going to come and fill it back up? Nobody. You got what you got. Good luck. Everybody is 3 meals away from starvation. You don't realize it, but that's really what it is. So you have to prepare. It's all part of being prepared as a investor. Having a clear mind to be able to decide what it is that you're going to be doing, because you cannot trade scared money. Scared money will not make you any money. And if you don't have these things sorted out beforehand, I have food stocks, I have water filters, I have water, I have means to medicate myself, over the counter medications that would normally be a hindrance on being sick or whatever. You're not worried about COVID. You're not worried about RSV. They're trying to scare the hell out of you again. People get sick, folks. It's part of life. If you're going to die, you're going to die. Ain't nothing to worry about. You can't stop it. But you have to make preparations for these things to get even harder. And a lot of you young folks out there just think you're invincible. And I'm so thankful that this wasn't happening when I was 20, because I would have dismissed all of it. I would not be listening to me right now. I would have already turned this off, and that would have been it. But I'm thankful I've been able to be in this world long enough to know and how it operates, and where we're heading is not pleasant. And all of you people out there that are running around thinking that you're going to have Forex forever, man, you just simply don't know. You don't know. So if the dollar's coming down, that gives you a gateway to have mega trades. That means these big, extrapolated, violent, one-way direction moves. That's a real bull market. That's a real commodity that has real supply and demand factors to it, because people need to eat. You don't need your British pounds. You don't need to buy British pounds in the US. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do it. You don't need to buy IBM shares or Amazon shares or Tesla shares. You don't need to do that. But you do need to fill your pantry up. You do need to put eggs, bread, milk, and those main staples in your house. Those things are real. That stuff is going to be hard to get your hands on going into 2023. If you can, it's going to be so expensive. It's going to be stressful. So you need to be able to mitigate that as early as you possibly can. Start, making preparations for that. And also preparing yourself for opportunities in the marketplace, because crypto ain't it, folks. It's not it. The commodity markets, the old wheat, corn, soybean, those types of moves that we saw years ago in the 90s, they're going to be trumped by enormous rallies. Coffee, you can make a lot of money in coffee trading it. And when it moves fast. Over $300 a cent, and you're looking at a move that could potentially go violently straight up. If people can't get what? If they can't get their caffeine through coffee, what happens to them? They're nuts, right? I can't function without my coffee. I'm glad I've never been a victim to that, but I can see. I've been married to a woman that needs that stuff. She's addicted to it. But that's going to be a commodity that is affected by what's coming too. Sugar right now, unless you're a diabetic or something like that, you should be getting it. Cocoa, real quiet market right now. But all those things are going to be expensive going into the next year, because you're not going to get your hands on them. But the main ones are grains to me. That's the one I'm watching. And we saw this big run up, and we corrected, and everybody's forgot about it right now. Nobody's talking about corn and soybeans and wheat and oats. They're not talking about it. And the dollar's slipping. And the fundamentals are Saudi Arabia saying, it's been nice, but see you, Biden. They found new friends. New mafia protectors. They ain't worried about getting shaken down anymore. So what's the dollar backed by? Mm-hmm. What's the British pound backed by? Mm-hmm. The euro. Yeah, it's an illusion. Then you have these nations coming together saying, we are going to put an end to Western rule. Just replace that with dollar based. You know, that's really what they're saying. And it was going to happen. I mean, we played bully for years and decades. We tried to be the cops, but we were also the people that are doing the biggest crimes against humanity and other nations. We don't like your president. We're going to do you a favor and we're going to put one in that we like. What? How long can you do that before other countries say, hey, this ain't the right guy to be backing? And we're seeing that formation, this collaboration between other nations that are literally turning their back on the dollar. You're going to see a lot of shit like that in 2023. A lot of your cryptocurrency things, they're all going to be shit just completely done away with. And what is that going to do to the public's perception about crypto? Hell no. I'm not touching that stuff. And then what's going to happen? Here's the solution. Here's the solution, because the dollar sucks now because it's not backed by the oil market anymore. Can't go to crypto. So what are you going to do? You can't just go and start using the ruble or yuan. That can't be accepted in America. So the central bank digital currency. Here you go, the savior. And get everybody on the blockchain. And once that's done, it's all going to be unified onto one. There's no way that's where we're going. You just don't see it yet. That's a little ways down the road. But they first got to get you off of cash. And that's going to be easy next year. Real quick, real sudden. You're not stopping it. I can't stop it. I don't even lose sleep over it. I'm not worried about it. But all these things translate into huge opportunities in the commodity markets next year. Because if grains can't be produced at the level they're supposed to be, and they don't meet their yield, how much they're able to harvest, that means there's going to be less food going into the grocery store. That means what? The supply, the real supply, will be small. Very, very low. What's that going to do for prices? Hyperinflation through the roof. Supply and demand. So if that's happening or likely to happen, wouldn't it be interesting for you to start studying what those grain markets are doing over the next 6 to 9 months? Because I believe that we're going to see enormous bull markets in the grain markets in 2023. Like straight up, never been seen before type of moves. And they've laid the groundwork for it because they know everybody's looking for crypto bull markets. Everybody wants the stock market to turn around. Oh, look at this. We had a nice little bounce on stocks. Mm-hmm. It doesn't go in a straight line, folks. You have to get people wanting to do what? You have to get them to buy it. Downtrends, whether they're parabolic or stair stepping. Okay. Every time there's a short-term little low there is an enormous hope that comes in thinking that's the low. That's the bottom. Let's buy it. But just in case it isn't, let me put my stop loss right below that low. That's why you have these little corrections. It's not because buyers came in and there was a lull in the sellers. That's the horseshit that they tell you. It's not that, folks. It's not that. Once it gets to an objective, then they start repricing it higher. Any market orders that come in, they get filled at that market price, and they just keep booking it higher, 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 higher. And if you're short, you get squeezed out of it, which causes it to do what? You buy it more. So you're exiting at a higher price that they keep offering to the marketplace. You're forced to trade there if you're in the trade, or you're suffering through the loss. So my point in saying this is they create these short-term little rallies to engineer sentiment shifts where it's the low. Oh, maybe it's bullish for the stock market now. There ain't a fucking thing bullish about this stock market right now. It's absolutely nothing bullish about the stock market. Nothing. There's no optimism that makes any bit of sense. And all you're seeing is reasons for people to do what? Buy into that hope. See, normally we create the low of the year and then starts trading higher right about now. And I'm expecting this one to fail because that's the normal seasonal thing. I teach my students this between as early as September into the half of November. In those weeks, we look for an SMT divergence. Dow Jones goes lower, NASDAQ goes lower, S&P doesn't make that lower low, or one of them. And that's enough to start looking for a run up into February. Real easy move. Real easy thing that repeats most years. This ain't a typical kind of year. Like there's a whole lot of things going on, man. We got war, we got corruption everywhere, and I ain't gonna go to the laundry list of things that I've talked about in the past, but nothing's normal, and normal ain't coming back. And normalcy in markets for sentiment is usually there's a low that's formed in the fall, and you can work with that going into February of the following year. Sometimes, as long as February, but usually through the first half of January. So you have a tradable fall rally. And then how we work into springtime where it creates a short-term high and then intermediate-term high and then trades down through the summer, making, again, the fall lows. I am of the opinion that is not going to happen this year. They're going to give you what we're seeing right now, that little short-term turn. It looks like it's made a bottom. It looks like that we're done. We've seen capitulation. We have not seen capitulation. No. Mm-mm. Think about it, folks. It's been going up for a while. So they have to get people to do what? Buy in to bring in new sellers below the lows. Because if you're short from the highs, you have to have someone to do what? Sell to you buying to cover your short. That's why these markets create these short-term lows in bear markets. The 2023 year is fraught with opportunity, but it's also going to come at a cost. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be probably scary for most people. But the main thing is for you not to be afraid by being prepared. Get yourself some non-perishable food. So that way, when you're trading, you're not worrying about, oh, I can't trade because I can't afford to buy the food that's going to be too expensive now. You have it taken care of. And that way, you're not panicking and worrying about things that's going to be an external influence on your decision-making processes. That psychology element. No educator. Listen to me, folks. I'm going to sound like a crack. Do you hear my stomach? I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything all day, and I'm starving. I'll feed you in a minute. Relax. No other educator out there would ever step out here and talk the shit I'm talking to you because they have an image. They want you to buy their bullshit, their course, their signal service, their nonsense. I can sit here and be honest and objective with you because I know what's coming. I know I can't stop it. But I'm telling you how I'm navigating it. There is no secret other process that I'm doing. I don't have a place where I can store my money that's going to be protecting it from all the bullshit that's potentially coming. There ain't nothing that anybody's going to be able to do to stop this kind of shit. If the banks say, your money's ours, there ain't nothing I can do. Just like they ain't going to be able to be stopped on your end. Whatever you have in your checking account, if they say that's it, this is the way it is, that's it. And they're going to remove the opportunity for people that say, I'm just going to take all my money at the bank and store it in mason jars in the back of my yard and between the mattresses and behind the drywall in my home. When cash is no longer allowed, you can't do anything with that stuff. And then what happens when you go into putting it back in the market, or not the market, the bank, when they say you have this much time to bring your cash on deposit, or it's worthless? Don't think it can happen? Watch. Watch. What do you think's going to happen with all the cartels when that shit hits the fan? You're going to see all kinds of wars. People are going to be real pissed off. Like, this is a perfect storm. Like, there's so many things converging right now, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And the last thing you should be worried about is who's the better trader. No. You better get your house in order, because there's all kinds of shit coming for all of us. So, what are you going to do? Don't ask me what I'm doing. I've already told you. What are you going to do? Are you going to pretend like all this is this? Well, I don't buy into any of this bullshit. It was entertaining listening to this crackpot, but I'm going to go to work next week the same way, and I'm going to trade the same way, and next year it's going to be the same thing, and nothing's going to happen. And okay, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I do. I absolutely want all of you to be able to laugh at me and say, man, how's it feel to know that all that precaution that you were putting out there was not needed and none of this happened? I'm glad. I want to be able to say I'm glad, and it's a good laugh. But I don't think that punchline's coming. I've been 10 years ahead of everything. Closer to 11 years. I thought I had a little bit more time when I stepped out on baby pips, but things started ramping up quick. Things started getting really aggressive, and they sped up everything. And they even announced that they're going to try to speed up things that they had a agenda for 2030. Now they want to do it sooner. And these things are going to speed up more aggressively. And everybody's expecting that red wave to save them in the elections. I told you, don't wait for that, because that's not going to be there. There you go. See, you're placing your hope and trust in man. Nope. As nice as you probably think I am, and I'm trying to be very cordial to all of you and help you, push come to shove, if it was a matter of my family eating or you, my family's eating. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. That's just the reality of it. Okay. I don't give a fuck about my personal image out here on the public. I'm telling you, this is the way it is. And you should be thinking the same way. Whatever you can obtain to make sure your house is ready, you should be doing that. Worst thing in the world for you to do is start going ahead and telling all your friends and family that's what you're doing, because they're going to give you 50 fucking reasons why that's stupid. And either you won't do it, or they're going to try to take from you. So you have to make sure you have means of protecting yourself, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, but I don't support that. Well, I don't care what you support personally. I support it. Friends dressed in brass are good friends to have. They run real fast. And when you need them, it's good to have them. If you need them and you don't have them, it ain't fun. And we're going into a world where you're going to wish you have that type of resource. So food has been weaponized. Food and water futures, grains and water futures. I'm watching the water futures contracts, the whole business of water. You see how many bodies of water have been drying up over the last 24 months? Have you paid any attention to that? Probably not. Where's all the water going? Think. Think. You just don't want to believe it. Science fiction level shit coming, folks, whether you're ready for it or not. But that science fiction level stuff is going to produce the most amazing opportunities. And I'm occupying while I can. I'm not going to sit around huddled up in a fetal position where I'm at the end of the world. No. I'm going to be staying active and doing what I can to prepare for it with my family. And I'm being open with you. I'm telling you how I'm doing it. I'm not saying that I have the answer to it. I'm just saying instead of worrying about it and being anxious and scared, and maybe some of you are, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to create some kind of fear porn thing. If I had a friend that knew something terrible was about to happen and that friend didn't tell me, I couldn't consider them a friend. I have been open about this the entire time. I've warned about certain things and you've watched it come to pass. I've warned about this is what they're going to do next and it's coming to pass. I'm not a prophet. I'm not trying to say I have clairvoyance or ESP. I'm just telling you, look around. Connect the dots, folks. They're keeping everybody distracted so they don't do the same thing common sense would do. That's all you're going to be required to use here is common sense. They're keeping you distracted with all kinds of dumb shit instead of paying attention to the right things, which is what I'm talking about. Getting your house ready. Universal basic income, that will be a thing. Do you want to be a subscriber to that? I don't. I don't want my family members to have to be on the government tit because you have to do everything they tell you then. You got to have this vaccine or you can't get your monthly benefits. No thanks. And the average person doesn't see it. My kids aren't in public schools, but I guarantee they're not teaching it in schools either. It's going to be one of those things where something happened. Who could have seen that coming? All of you now. All of you. And you have two choices, obviously. You can listen to this and dismiss it. Guys, tinfoil hat shit. Okay. Or you can listen to it and say, okay, this is opportunity.